But yes, we did hear a lot about investments in Belgium, in your country, and we have a beautiful panel here. So I will start with a disclaimer first that if I go wrong with the name pronouncement, pardon my Indian English, and it has nothing to do with your part of the world. So we had a beautiful presentation telling us why we should come to Belgium, why we should invest in your part of the world, and what you offer. Now, if India is now seeing a beautiful market change and integration of economies is also happening across the world. To start with, I will turn to you, Mr. Blue. I hope I got it right. Thank you. So the Economic Council, I would like to start with you. And why should I come to Brussels and Belgium and invest? Yes, okay. Belgium and India, why should I?
I would say because we were really, as said previously, we are open, dynamic, and economy. We are also an open economy, and also as an Indian, you should consider to come and invest in Belgium because we already have a strong economic ties. It was said previously that the trade flows between Belgium and India amount to more than 12 billion euros for last year. And all of years to highlight the fact that the trade relationships between both countries are really strong. We can mention the fact that there are more than 175 Belgian companies that are located in India and more than 1,500 Belgian companies that are interacting in one or another way with India. We also mentioned the fact that we've got more than 80 Indian companies that are already located in Belgium.
So on that point, embassies play a very critical role, and the role of facilitator.
Yes, indeed. As some of you might know, Belgium is a federal country, so we've got federal government and federated entities. We are in charge of different things like the federal level is in charge of, for example, fiscality, customs, but the regions are in charge of the promotion of trade and investment. And we've got a broad network of diplomatic representation here in India, but also a broad network of trade offices located in Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, and also Bangalore for the three regions. So the region of Flanders, the region of Brussels, and the region of Wallonia. And of course, the Trade Commissioner are here at the service of any Indian partners who would like to invest in Belgium. They are at the service of both persons in a way that they can provide advice, they can provide information, and all of that is free, of course, and also confidential. So they are our trade commissioner are not only here to help Belgian companies to export to India, but they are also here in India to help Indian investors to find the right way to the regions in Belgium.
So before on those calls, before we'll come back to you, but we want to move on to you a bit. And the question is, corporate reform, ease of doing business is a big challenge, which a lot of corporates in India are also asking. So what it is in your world that gives our corporates that confidence?
I think I'm here like now 4 years in India. I have a lot of questions coming from Belgian companies. I interact also with Indian business people. So I have an idea about the difficulty, the challenges that Indian companies are having here in India. And then I can, of course, see how it is with us. And I can truly say that doing business is much easier in Belgium than it is here, I think. The legislation is there, and the practice and the theory is the same. You're treated in the same way everywhere, and we try to, I'm with customs, and we see the people who come to us as our customers. So I think that's perhaps a difference, like it happens here actually.
We move on. We all spoke about the way the federal structure of your country works, and Mr. Alex, my question is to you. And you coming from Flanders Investment and Trade, and you knowing we did see we also right now seeing how the investments are happening by Tech Mahindra there. So, I mean, your agency is doing very strongly with what one produced and what one reads. So the question to you is that how do you compete among each other? How do you market the environment so that the investment comes to you?
How do we market? The first thing, we are very strong in the field of logistics, but then the second thing as well, Flanders is also very strong in the field of R&D. We are in the top 5 regions in Europe, and we have like cutting-edge research centers in different fields. There is in the field of sustainable energy development and clean tech. There is a research institute. Then there is also a research institute in micro and nanotechnology and digital technologies. Then we have also a research institute in biotechnology, and also Flanders Make, who is specialized in supporting manufacturing industry. So through these research centers that we have, the strategic research centers, not only the strategic research centers do the research and for the industry as such, but also they help startups in finding funds as well to develop themselves, scale themselves up, and also there are kind of acceleration programs and incubators as well nearby, so that the companies could fast grow, like it was mentioned as well at the beginning. The person who I know as well told it, that there is a strong startups in Belgium.
So you have a competition sitting beside you. Let's see what Mr. Irwin has to tell us about investment and trade promotion in the most talked about region that he belongs to.
Probably more than a competitor, we are the first partners as a region. We are global in a lot. Our research centers and universities are working all the time together, also reaching European programs. So it's very important this collaboration in infra Belgium. Regarding the region of Wallonia itself, I would say that we have evolved from, I would say, like traditional industries-based economy to a knowledge-based economy where we are working with innovation clusters. And those innovation clusters gather companies, but also research centers and training centers. And the idea is really to promote this triple helix models. Means like we are promoting infrastructure project, R&D project, really in 6 priority sectors. Those priority sectors are, of course, the biotechnological ones, including medtech, pharma, also agri-food and clean tech. But also we have 3 other innovation clusters in engineering, in aerospace and aeronautics, and also in one logistics. And those clusters, they really provide a partnership between all those players, those research centers, universities, and companies, and through budgets that the governments, the Walloon governments, each year, twice a year, launch for R&D projects. And so it's really a bottom-up approach coming from the company. So they will partners and suggest a project to an international jury, and then the government will, based on R&D, the jury will give some budget. But those budgets are quite important. We have spent 4 or 5 last year around €500 million at the regional level to support those R&D projects. And it's, of course, something important because at the regional level we spent around 2.89% of our GDP in R&D, and this is very close to the European objective of spending 3% of the GDP in R&D. So definitely we are looking for such kind of collaboration between companies we try to foster that thanks to some non-public, public but non-profit organizations. This is definitely something that improves the competitiveness of the region.
That's interesting, and we'll definitely come back to you more on the seafood and other questions. But Mr. Jeff, the easiest thing, I think the most interesting question is for you. Now, Brussels has a key position in EU, and can you tell us more about why I should look for Brussels?
There are so many reasons that I can't really tell them you all. That's a matter of fact. But first, is, as you said, it's the capital of Europe. So you have all the European solution. There is a lot of lobbying happening around. So I have to say, you are strategically located if you also want to influence the market. This is one point. Also, you can have access to all the European tenders as a company. When you have your headquarters in Brussels, you are really close to what happens. And you are aware of the changes and all the tenders happen because you are centrally located. Another point is the connectivity. I don't know if you know how much time does it take to go to Paris with the train.
Paris with the train from Brussels?
Yeah.
2.5 hours?
1 hour 20 minutes.
1 hour 20 minutes.
Amsterdam, 1 hour 50 minutes. Frankfurt, 3 hours. London, 2 hours. So we have the unmatched connectivity. This is a matter of fact. And I really like there is a saying, saying that all the ways lead to Rome.
Yes.
This was for the Roman Empire. Now you are in the modern time, and I have to say all the ways lead to Brussels.
Okay.
So yes, you are centrally located where you have a lot of good qualified people who speak languages, because it's the second capital city with the most spoken languages due to the presence of the European Union too. And this is a reason to find very qualified people who will be able to sell your products, for example, all over Europe, because you use Brussels as your gateway to Europe.
So now what we are actually talking about is look Belgium, not UK.
That's for sure. That's the message of today. I have to say, don't look. Keep your presence in UK because there is a strong link between India and UK.
Right.
But you will need to open a second European headquarter because we don't know what will happen. And Brussels, therefore, is a very strategic located place.
So on that note, Mr. Councillor, I will come back to you. That if I have to look to Belgium, what do I do about my visa?
Indeed, I think that all the questions is indeed a question. No, basically, the main thing about going to Belgium is part of the Schengen area, so you need to have a Schengen visa. But for that, you have to apply for that. But Belgium is to be the main destination as such. Just to won't go through the technical elements of the visa application. So I would just underline the fact that we've got a broad network visa center more. We've got 16 visa centers here in India, the main cities of India, so it's be accessible to a lot of people. It's located in cities like Delhi, Mumbai, Kochi, Calcutta, so on. Also, the key message that I want to deliver about the visa application to Belgium is that we are really quick handling the visa application. Of course, it's better to apply for Schengen visa through the Belgian embassies and through the visa centers, not at the last moment. We encourage businessmen who want to travel to Belgium to wait at least 3 weeks in advance. I definitely with all visa teams, we got a really high rate of approval of the visa application, and most of the time it's handled within a week. So it's a smooth process, and to really summarize the technical part, you will have first to apply online for the visa. after that they will have an appointment with the visa center in order that they will go and deliver all the required documents. If they didn't do it before, they will have to keep the fingerprints and they will be alive pictures, and after that, the embassy or the consulate will work with the application.
So what are the kind of investors which actually come to you? What kind of business people come to you and who are interested? Have you noticed any kind of trend?
No particular trend, that my colleagues can talk a bit more about that, but it's Belgium is a very diversified economy, so the interests are multiple. It might be, for example, people who are interested in fintech, who are interested in agro sector, it might be bio, it might be pharmaceutical, it might be chemicals. There are no particular trend in whatever. The Belgium economy, the Belgium industry is really highly diversified.
Thank you. But then before I talk to you more on the tax issues and registering, I wanted to understand from you what is Belgium's own fiscal policy? How does it go about it?
What you said in the presentation before, that we had a reform of the tax policy. So I think, not to repeat what has been said, there is a double tax agreement with India since long time, which is a big advantage if you are working with Belgium. For example, the reform is also there that now, like the Netherlands and Luxembourg, they promote themselves as being a very good destination for making a holding. But actually, we get the same advantages, but we don't have it in the picture that you get these same advantages which you get in the other two member states. And another thing I think is very important here on indirect tax, like the GST, we have the VAT, and if you have VAT credit, you actually get it back from the VAT administration. So when you do your VAT declaration, you don't have to wait, or it just months back on your account, which is I think very good because I have the impression that it's a burden on the cash flow otherwise. And also, for example, as import, you don't have to refinance your VAT. You have a system that comes to your VAT declaration. So I think in global, that are just examples to say that, of course, every country needs taxes, but I think you should not make a tax policy with demotivating the business. And I think with these examples, I can show you that the tax policy we have to try to attract business.
Of course, in presentation also we saw, and you're also saying that ease of doing business. Very easy to do business there. So one question which I personally would like to know is how long does it take to set up a company here?
I think like 1 week, and you only have to travel once. You have to travel to open a bank account. Then you have to, of course, draft the articles which say where will the company be established, what is the main goal of the company. Then you have to go to the notary, and there has to be a registration, but all this can be done by representatives. So, and then it comes in you get the number, and that will be then also your VAT number. So everything goes smoothly actually.
That said, there is also, I know I'm going a little beyond, but yesterday only there was a major announcement which is all over in the media about 40% acquisition in one of the big business houses based down south. So equity stake basically. So what I want to understand from the tax perspective, when you're looking at the corporate reform strategy, how do the businessmen there perceive such a environment?
I think in a good way, because like the example was given, Alibaba is coming to Belgium. You can only achieve this kind of getting this
also is quite known for. So, what kind of, do you see any kind of interactions and ties between Indian companies and companies there in this sector particularly?
Well, yes, as the ambassador mentioned, yesterday there was a joint venture between the Flemish company Patriso, who is supporting an Indian company in technology and knowledge to set up a plant in India for the production of processed coffee for French fries. So, but coming to the food sector, the food industry is one core industry in Flanders. We are like the number one in the product and process innovation in food. And when I look at the sector here in India, India has so much resources. It's like first, on a global level, the first producer of milk, then the second producer of vegetables, marine cereals, then the fourth in eggs on a global level. And so there is a vast amount of resources. But what is exported directly to Europe is very limited. It's only raw materials. So where see a high potential is that Indian companies in the food sector can export these raw materials to Europe, and then for the processing, it can be done in Europe and customized to the European taste as well. Because in France, we have Flanders Food Bank project that is like an application and analysis center where companies would first try out on a semi-production basis. They can test the production line before setting up a whole production and to see how it might be perceived. And second, they can also do lab tests to see for the taste, for how is the shelf life, also the aroma. And doing these trials can then also customize their products to get accepted in the European market. So I think there are synergies. At one hand, you have all the resources here in India, and at the other hand, in Flanders, in partnership with companies, they can transform these products and acceptable products for the European market, and so both.
Thank you. And your area. Yeah, your area has been very interesting, and the challenges it has gone through of its own. So, how we would like to understand from you, because India also has a very federal structure, and there are too many states, and we also have our own investment summit where each state is luring and remaining competitive, so that business goes to their state. So, how has your state remained competitive in the whole scenario?
So let's say that the decision of the government to really support innovation, and as I said, is one part of the revolution we have seen in our region. But the representative of WIPO was speaking about a lot of sectors related to the process of revolution, including data, 3D printing, everything related to IoT and all those sectors. Our governments are really supporting those sectors too. Definitely Industry 4.0, this is a concept our companies are pressing a lot. And for that, the government has also launched new policies supporting our companies in acquiring the knowledge and also the competencies to really face with this post-industrial revolution. And we have two plans. One is called Digital 100, and really support also the investment in the infrastructure. So for the moment, we are doing a lot of investment in smart grid. I know this is a kind of also interesting aspect for India. You are developing so many solar plants around the country. Definitely, this is one of the technology we are developing at the regional side. Related to this new industrial revolution. Also, we are supporting, the schools and the fact that the talent, the next talent is really important. So we are investing a lot also in ensure that the next generation will be very confident with those technologies. So this plan is really dedicated to that, and is also linked to another plan fostering entrepreneurship and non-technological innovation, and the idea here is really also to be sure that everything related to the startup ecosystem and everything related to the design thinking and also the emergence of creative industries as a real industry. This is also a plan that helps the development of activities in those fields. And I would say that combined with the option of innovation as the core regional economic development policy, we are now having like a complete picture of what would be done to really stay competitive. That would be my answer to this question.
Yes, I come to you now. Everyone talks fintech, everyone talks artificial intelligence,
Everyone is talking every day. It looks like brick and mortar people park slowly. But we just saw what Google did in your country. So, when you Brussels being the main center, is Brussels itself also competing with its process?
I have to say we have complementarities between the regions. In Brussels, you will not be doing logistics. This is the strength of Antwerp, of Liège. Because, the Brussels capital region is a tiny place on the world scale. But if you look at the IT, we represent 35% of the IT sector. That's why, for example, we have a strong link with the Wipro, TCS, Infosys. They are all there in Brussels. Because they understood that they also have access to these European markets. So they are there and they are growing with a pace of 10% every year. So we have sectors, I would say, the strength of Brussels, as Mr. Schroeden said, it's also a test market. And it's a very good place to start a sales and marketing office. It's not where you will have a big warehouse, but this is where you will do your sales because of the connectivity, because you find the right people, and because it's the capital of Europe and the capital of Belgium. It's the biggest city. So that's why Brussels, I would say, is complementary to the regions, and each of the regions has something to offer. And that's why we are all together today to promote Belgium, because we are complementary, and we have all to offer something.
So what we'll do now is that we know what they want to tell us. We'll open the floor, and I request the audience to be very specific, very precise, and please identify the person whom you want to answer that question.
Yeah.
Gentlemen here.
I need a mic, I can start.
You don't need a mic.
I don't need a mic.
No.
If the mic is,
Others
yeah.
might need
Yeah,
it.
that's right. Yeah, sure. Good evening. My name is Sanjay. The question is addressed, I wouldn't get the names, the gentleman there, the extreme right, the guy just gave. So I just want to know, this is like you said, companies like Tech Mahindra and everybody is there, Wipro is there, and they may be the major, those Fortune 500 companies. But what about the small startups willing to come into Belgium?
Okay, for the startups, we have an ecosystem which is there, depending on the sector. Each region has its own startup incubators. We have what's necessary for startups. On a business point of view, my only concern with the startup is then to find the funds, either in Belgium, either in India, either all over the world. It's the funds that are available. But because of the cultural difference, being a startup is already a hard life. So I had my own startup when I was 25. So I know what it is to run a startup, and it's difficult. So it's always better to grow in your own country and then scale up somewhere else than really willing to start everything from the beginning from a foreign country. Because there are things that you will never understand. So I have to say, it's good to start up in your own country, scale up all over the world, because the globe is a single market. And that's my, how do you say, my advice to Indian startups. And we have a lot of SMEs who are also coming to see us. And SMEs who are willing to sell a product, to sell their service. That's why we say, okay, come to Brussels or one of the places in Belgium to open a sales and marketing office. Because you will be centrally located and you can do your marketing from there and your sales from there to cover the whole European market. So it's not only the big ones that we are. I'm facing much more with small companies, SMEs, than really big companies because they don't necessarily they ask price and what around they are the big five to help them to settle down their businesses abroad. So we are there for really SMEs are our main clients.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sanjeev, and it's just an information, it's not a question. I represent Foxton King, and we have a network all over the world. We own a company called Mining of Hotels, and we run a hotel in Belgium, part of the city, called Mining of Hotels. We have around about 100 rooms there, so it runs very well, and we're exploring more opportunities in Belgium, and we have 40 hotels in Europe.
So, pardon me, but if the business conversation, one-on-one done, you can do it after the
Sure.
So right now, any specific questions you have?
It's not a question, it's information that we have to question.
So that will do it very quickly. Thank you. Receiving time for just one more question. Anyone? Yes.
Hi, good evening. I'm Sally Bailey. I'm a proud Belgian graduate from Entrepreneur School itself. My question is to Jan and Alexis itself. You mentioned that in Flanders you encourage startups. There's quite a huge number of funding available for startups also. Whereas you have just mentioned start from your own country and send you abroad. But how about if your product is European centric and you want to go out there and start right away? So what to you and also to Alexis, how about if my startup or my product or an ID is a European centric? It will work well in the European market rather than my own nation. So what are your suggestions? Should I wait and make a base out here or directly head into the European market?
Personally, I would have to say, Belgium. You've been studying in Belgium.
Yeah.
So I'm not making a big picture. Most of the startups from Indian nationals have started in the US because they've been studying in the US or in the UK. So I'm not making a generality, but I say most of the startups I see here in India are Indian-based. So I say it's better to grow first in India, then scale up. But if you know the country, if you have already all the access, if you have access, for example, you come from a university and you have access to funds already in Belgium, that's another story. It's really a case-to-case scenario, but it was just a general advice I was giving. Because I'm facing a lot of startups connecting to us, and they're asking us, but they don't know anything about Belgium, for example. But yet they want to sell their product in Europe because they can make more money. But the fact is, first you need a good backbone to be able to walk. So you need to grow a little bit to be able to sustain yourself. And the costs involved also, will make it. You need this backbone to be solid enough to grow on the European market. That's my only advice.
Alexis, you did mention one conversation that Flanders you do encourage and provide funding for startups. So is there any funding institutions you can recommend us where we can approach?
Well, as I mentioned in the beginning, the strategic research centers, the different skills that I mentioned, they can assist company startups in making the bridge towards investors. For example, in Ghent, there is in biotech, a strong cluster of biotech. Well, there they are organizing international conference like one is Bio Equity, where they try to do a link between startups and potential investors. Now coming to ITC, for example, IMEC, as he mentioned, the startup first grow in India and then see how to tackle the European market. IMEC the research institute that I mentioned, they have a specific program, IMEX Scale Ups program, and this is exactly like startups who are doing well in their home country, and they want to tackle the European market, but they are scared because they don't have a network, they do not have the link with the investors, they do not know what are the legal requirements, etc. So they are organizing a program in the field of micro and nanotechnology and digital technologies. They are organizing a program of like 8 weeks intensive program just to face this hurdle and to help foreign companies, foreign startups to come. So
Thank you, well. Thank you.
So we're running short of time, so if you can quickly ask, yes.
Hello,
Yes.
my name is Manmohan Bhagat. I'm the chairman of Indian Diversified Company. My question is to Honorable Secretary Economy, who is visiting from Brussels. Very kind of him to have given an excellent presentation, sir. My question is, when are we likely to sign with EU our free trade agreement? Secondly, to what extent is it possible to have, while we are waiting for...
So, pardon me to interrupt, but this you can, this is not referring to the panel, we are just restricting to the questions to the panel. You can have a discussion with them subsequently.
Okay.
Thank you very much, and of course, all the gentlemen here are available for discussions, all of you.